What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to a new year of Front Range Aquascapes. Today is January 1st, 2024, so I just want to take a moment to wish everybody a very happy and prosperous new year moving forward. If you look right here behind me to the right, probably your left, still haven't figured out how the camera works that way, but if you'll notice, I have a new empty tank sitting here. Well, it's not new, it's a used tank, and it's got some pretty nasty water stains. I've done everything I can think of other than like really breaking out harsh chemicals. I've used vinegar, razor blade, double lot steel wool, got the majority of them off, and once there's water in it you won't be able to see them, but you can see them right now, and it's going to be there during filming. I apologize, but there's nothing else I can do. But what we're going to do on this tank is, my happiest place in the world is in the mountains, in the woods. That's one reason that I live in Colorado. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a tank, or at least I'm going to try my damnedest to do a tank that is inspired by the Colorado mountains. So I hope you enjoy this one. This one's going to be fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you guys as well. I guess enough jibber jabber. Let's go ahead and get you guys set up and get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and make trees for this aquarium. And for that, I'm going to be using some of these smaller rocks and these twigs that I have here that came out of my backyard. They are hardwood, they're a fruit tree. They should be fine. They've been soaked for months. And then I also have some little pieces of cholla wood that have been soaking for a few days that I'm hoping will sink. If not, I can glue rocks to them as well. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and start we're going to take some super glue gel, and we're just going to put a few drops, and then we're going to take a rock that we think will hold this down and glue it on. And we may come through and do the tissue and super glue trick as well. I don't like the way that is sitting. Actually, it's going to be too tall. So we'll go like this. And you know what? I think we are going to do the super glue and tissue trick, which means that we will not be using super glue gel. We will be using liquid super glue. So give me a moment. Let me grab that, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Well, you won't even know that I'm gone. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about that confusion. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little piece of toilet paper. I'm going to stick it right in there. Maybe a little bigger piece of toilet paper. And just crumple it up, wad it up in there. Alright, and let's see how badly I super glue myself to this project. Alright, can you see that? So we're just going to go ahead and drip some super glue down in there. And this is going to set up almost immediately and be super, super tough and really, really hard. At least that's the hope. All right, and see, just like that, it is set up, and this should now hopefully not float. And we're just going to go ahead and do that to, well, all the rest of these. Actually, I lied. We're not going to do this on all of the rest of these. Some of these we're going to super glue down to the bottom of the tank because they have really nice flat cut bottoms. So yeah, we'll actually super glue some of these down to the bottom of the tank, which will make my life much, much easier. Told you I was going to successfully glue myself to it at least once. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can actually see smoke coming off of it as it is setting up. Alright, so I've gone ahead and got all of the rocks glued to the, again, trees that need to be glued, and I know that I've got them on heavy duty enough rocks for their appropriate size. And of course I glued this one to the paper towel. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's the only one that I glued down like that. This one may need another rock. I don't know, we'll see. And if it does, then I'll just glue another one over here to where it looks like it's sitting next to like a little outcropping of rocks. It'll be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and get you guys rearranged so that we can get a background on this tank and then start figuring out where we're going to place things and how we're going to place things. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip this over on its back. And I'm going to go ahead and clean it real good with just a little bit of water and a paper towel. And then I'm going to take water and just spray it down really, really good. Get it wet. And then we're going to take this piece of cling film that I already have cut. And because it was already cut, all I have to do now is take my handy dandy gift card here, and just push all the air and water out. Alright, and there we go. Now we'll flip this back over. And as you can see, we now have a beautiful frosted white background back there. So, and we're back. It's the next day. I've gone ahead and made sure that this is watertight, since this is technically a terrarium. I did want to go ahead and make sure that it was watertight before I, put 100 pounds of water in it. And we are going to go ahead and start setting up our scape. There is one thing that I know, and that's that I'm going to want some height over here. So what I think I'm going to do, because I don't have a whole lot of substrate this time, so what I'm going to end up doing is I've got an old bag of carbon that has been used for months, so it has no carbon ability whatsoever anymore. It's just going to basically be there like a bag of gravel would be. So, and then I've also got some flat rocks that we're going to put in there just to add some height so that it doesn't take as much substrate. So let's get started. And then we're also going to take some filter foam and just kind of wedge it in here to try to keep substrate from getting stuck down in those rocks as bad. And that's not perfect, but it should be good enough. So I need to go ahead and figure out, this is going to be in the foreground somewhere, but I need to figure out exactly where. And I know I want to have an unplanted section, just probably a small unplanted section here in this front corner. So I'm thinking that if I glue this tree right like that, but I do want to make sure that it's far enough back that I'll have room to get like cleaning utensils and stuff between it and the glass. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a big old dollop of super glue gel on the bottom, and we'll see how this works. And I'm just roughly placing these in right now until I figure out exactly how I want all of them to go in. that took way longer than it should have for the glue to set up, but I believe that we are secure enough now that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of potting soil, organic potting soil back here in the back, because I'm going to have heavy root feeders back there. I'm going to have Vallisneria, so we're going to want lots of nutrients for the roots. So I'm going to go ahead and put a light layer of organic potting soil in the very, very back. Then I'm going to come in with my aqua soil and fill. Like I said, I do want to have an area without aqua soil here. So we'll get some we'll get some substrate in here and we'll see how it looks. Okay, now that I've got it in there, I've picked out the majority of the big pieces of wood, but I am leaving some of the smaller pieces of wood and stuff like that in there. I don't sieve it. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and spray this down real good. At least I hope so. Alright, that should be nice and soaked through now. So that was all old used substrate. It's aqua soil and gravel. Not gravel, but it's aqua soil and sand. It's UNS contra soil, the very fine. And then there's a little bit of, looks like regular and fine that I guess had gotten mixed in. And then it's mixed in with just a little bit of black quartz sand. So now I'm just going to go ahead, give it a quick spray down so that I can get the sides clean. And we'll take a look at what it looks like and go ahead and add some gravel. Alright, so I got that fixed. I attached another rock to it. So let's go ahead and start getting this cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and start placing in some of the quote-unquote trees, just so that I can get a sense of what everything's going to look like. And you're going to notice that I have like 3 different size trees, and that is so that I have the big ones up front, and then they will progressively get smaller as they go to the back to give you that sense of depth and scale, for the same reason that we slope our substrates. So I don't want, like, these trees are all aimed this way. And I kind of want these trees, maybe not all of them, but at least some of them, to give a little bit of chaos and contrast. So let's see what we think there. So I'm really starting to like that. I'm going to go ahead and put some gravel in, and I'll show you here in a second. I've got a couple of different types of gravel. They're both from Aqua Natural. I am not affiliated, but I do really like their stuff. This is Midnight Pearl, which is a natural New Zealand river gravel. It's triple washed. One reason that I like this stuff so much is that it is really, really clean. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm not going to wash this or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the bag, and I'm going to dump a little bit in, and we're going to use this in the areas that have the aqua soil on them. And I'm sure you were probably watching me do that going, why the hell is he taking out the soil that he just put in? Well, that's because I have a different colored gravel that I want to put in here. And then I also think I'm going to use the gravel to kind of put a little path going through the trees back into here. And for that, what we're using is, again, an Aqua Natural. And this one is just aquarium substrate, but it is gold pearl. And it is actually different sized gravels and sand. So it'll look a little, it'll be an offset. It'll look pretty cool, I think. We'll find out, won't we? Okay, that wasn't well thought out. All right, and there we go with the two different colored gravels, and it's not real evident right now, but I'll spray it down here in a minute and you'll be able to see the real difference in color between the two. Okay, now that it's all sprayed down, you can actually see, oh yeah, the camera shows it off really well. Like, you can actually see that there is a hell of a difference between the two different substrates. And now we're going to go ahead and we've got one more tree that I want to put in about right here. And that's not going to stay. All right. Well, let me figure out a way to get this to stay. Okay, that one wasn't going to stay no matter how badly I wanted it to. So instead, I have this one that I'm fairly certain is going to stay. All right, and I think that I'm going to put the little pathway meandering back into here, and then I'm going to call it for the evening, and tomorrow we'll go ahead and do the planting. All right, so I've gone ahead and laid out a little path that leads up the hill here. I'm going to spray the path down, and I'm going to get down here at your level and take a look, and I'll be honest, I don't love it. So we'll work on that some more tomorrow for sure when I start planting. But one thing I want to do before I start planting is I do want to go ahead and scatter around some rocks. Because, like I said, I want this to be a Colorado-themed tank. And that's one wonderful thing about Colorado, is that we have these limestone outcroppings just in the middle of a forest. And, I'm sorry, not limestone, this is sandstone. But one thing that people know is that Colorado is known for are beautiful red sandstones. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put a little bit of native Colorado red sandstone in this tank. And there we are, ready for planting. But like I said, we're going to wait till tomorrow for planting. But I think that that is going to look pretty damned cool. So I will pick up with you again. For me, it's going to be probably about 12 hours. For you, it's going to be just a second. And just like that, we're back. So it is now time to plant. And I've already gone ahead and gotten a selection of plants out of my other tanks. And here we have my selection of plants. I've got some Val. There is some water wisteria there. No, actually I take that back. That's the Hygrophila polysperma. There's some more Hygrophila polysperma. There's some water wisteria, there's some crypts, I've got some bunches of pearlweed, a massive amount of Java moss, and then I've got some Java fern as well. Oh, there is also some dwarf sage in there. So we're going to go ahead and use this combination of plants to give a natural woodlands vibe to this tank. As you can see, I've already fitted the heater and I've got it set to like 77 degrees Fahrenheit. I apologize, I don't know what that is in centigrade. But let's go ahead and get started with some planting here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this valve and it's going along the very, very back of the tank. So this scape idea was a royal pain in the ass, just if anybody was wondering. I think it's going to be well worth the trouble, but it is a pain in the butt. Okay, we've gone ahead and got the we've gone ahead and got the valve planted all along the back. That's just going to grow in and just completely block off the back of the tank, giving the illusion that the tank goes on forever. Now what we're going to do is I've got some dwarf sage that I'm just going to go ahead and dot a few of them in the open spot up here. Actually, no, because these are heavy root feeders. So you know what? I'll go ahead and just throw them in areas back here where I can, where I know that there is nutrient-rich substrate. Alright, I think that's going to be good for the dwarf sage. Now we're going to go in with the Hygrophila polysperma. And what we're going to use this as is to give the impression that there's actually some deciduous trees in here as well, because I'm going to do most of these up as pine trees with Java moss. But like I said, I do want to have the impression that there are some deciduous trees, because like I said, this is inspired by Colorado, and we have stands of deciduous trees like cedar, or not cedar, well, yeah, cedar, poplar, stuff like that, in with our pine trees. And now we're going to take and right in next to the polysperma, we're going to go ahead and put in some water wisteria, which is Hygrophila, I can't remember right now, Defosa, I believe, Defosa, something like that. If I can figure out how to do it in editing, I'll put the name somewhere here on the screen for you. And now I'm just going in and putting a couple of small crypts in, and we'll see if they will survive. I'm not 100% sure. They're in pretty bad shape. If not, I can always take some healthy ones from another tank. I was just trying to use these, well, before they died. And to keep things from drying out, I'm going to go ahead, hit everything with a little water. And now I'm going to come in with the pearlweed, but I'm going to do something different with the pearlweed than I normally do. If you'll know, like you've seen me use it as a carpeting plant, but now I'm actually going to use it to give the impression of, well, trees. So we're just going to be planting entire big bushes of it. And I mean, you can see that's a good sized bunch of pearlweed. And so we can put it back in here, again, to give the impression of bunches of trees. I just had a thought. There is no nutrient base there, so we won't put that there. We'll go ahead and put it back here where there is nutrient. So I'm putting just a little bit of gel super glue here. And then I'm going to take this piece of Java fern and I'm going to glue it right in there. So I've gone ahead and added in a couple of cholla wood tree stumps. And now we're just going to go in and start super gluing bunches of Java moss that unfortunately has tank herpes, otherwise known as duckweed, all throughout it. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But we're just going to go ahead and start gluing the Java moss on to the tree limbs and stuff like that so that they look like evergreen trees. It is now the next day, and I apologize. I ran out of space on the memory card, so we got cut off before I put water in it. But all I've done is I went ahead and put water in it, of course. I had this Higer hang on back filter, and I don't know if I'm going to use it or not because it has a surface skimmer. And I'm wanting to use this tank to grow out guppy fry. And I don't know if the fry are going to be smart enough to not get hung up in the skimmer. But anyway, I went ahead and I filled this up, put the filter on it. This filter has been running in another tank for about a month, so it should be fairly well cycled, because the tank that it came out of is a very well cycled tank. What else did I do? Oh, I added another bunch of pearlweed. I added some Bacopa Minari in a few places because I think that it looks like trees. I didn't like the fact that like this clearing is leading to a focal point here, and that focal point is the heater. So I went ahead and added some red plants in there, just some Scarlet Temple, to go ahead and give it a pop of red. And I think that that's all I've done. We're going to go ahead and let this run for a few days before I add fish. For one thing, I want to go ahead and make sure that the soil is not leaching nutrients. And for another thing, like I said, I'm still debating that filter. I may put that filter back on the tank that it was originally being set up on and take the aqua clear off of that tank and put it on this one. We will see which decision I have made next time we check in. It's been a few days since we went ahead and set this tank up. I have added a few more plants. I added some Bacopa Minari. I can't remember if I told you this or not already, but then I also went ahead and scattered in a few just accent stones just to make it look more natural. And because we are working with a already established filter, I feel confident. I just did a 50% water change, and I've been acclimating these guppies for about 15 minutes or so. So they should be ready to go. I don't know how well you can see, but there's like 3, maybe 4 different batches of guppy fry in there. One precaution that I did take is in the overflow, or not the overflow, in the surface skimmer of this Higer tank filter, I went ahead and stuffed a piece of foam inside the skimmer just so that the fry don't get sucked up into it. But let's go ahead and release these, and then we'll come back tomorrow because we're going to turn the lights off pretty much as soon as we release these. But we'll come back tomorrow after everybody has had a chance to get settled in, and we'll see how all of the fry are doing. But let's go ahead and see if I can get everybody out of the pool. Did I actually manage? I'll be darned, I actually got everybody out in one swoop. That's unheard of. Well, there is a whole bunch of fry in that tank. Like I said, we'll turn the light off and let them acclimate, and we'll come back tomorrow and see how everybody's doing. And here it is, just about 24 hours after we've introduced the guppy fry. And as you can see, everything is happy and healthy. Because I started out with a pre-cycled filter, again, this tank was pretty much ready to go right away. So I hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into Colorado underwater. Like I said, the woods are my happy place, and I'm hoping that this tank will just be a place where I can come and relax and just enjoy. And that's going to bring us to an end of another episode of Front Range Aquascapes. As always, it's the YouTube thing, but you guys have no idea how much it really helps the algorithm. So please, like, share, subscribe, comment. If you comment, I will comment back 100%. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to get them wet. Get your hands in your tanks. Have a wonderful day. Peace.